Yes. Here we go. Hello. How you doing?
Hello there, I am the attention-seeking whore himself.
Indeed. How can I help you? Listen, I think you made a pretty damn bad video on me. I'm gonna be honest. It was pretty terrible.
Nah, fam, it was pretty dank.
So, at one point you accused me of being ableist. Like, it was pretty implicit there. Do you agree?
Well, I saw in those tweets you saying the R word, the C word, and other stuff.
The C word?
You know what I'm talking about,
Cunt?
the
Wait, do
yes.
you actually think that, like, cunt is used as, like, a misogynistic slur, like, most
Yes,
of the time?
because incels use it. Like, I feel like that we shouldn't be saying the dreaded C word.
Sure, but it's not. It's used completely different in the whole rest of the world, even where incels are. Like, what about fucking Australia and the
Yes, I
UK?
know. Yes, I know that people
Like,
from
wait,
Australia and United Kingdom use that
the
word.
if a certain hold on, if a certain group is using a word, it doesn't make it inherently like reactionary. You know that, right? Like the term
It's
woke
still,
skulled, for
it's
example, even though
still,
it was invented by reactionaries, sure, but it still is applicable to a certain group of people in leftism that I think are quite harmful.
yeah, no. I actually interacted with these people. They're pretty fine.
Well, I mean, like for example, the Critica person, the Steamy Derplings person you brought up, I literally banned them from my server because they started screaming at me because I said I wish I could have bread pilled the the El Paso shooter, and then after I banned them because they were ban baiting really hardcore, a girl came
Ugh.
forward to tell me that he had actually been in there in her DMs, like creeping on her. And earlier that same, I assume you couldn't have known this, but I mean, still, it's like just an example of what these people are like. You would use the example of like Vosh having sexually harassed a girl 3 years ago over Discord DMs, something he apologized for. Like, it's just sort
I'm
of
going.
cringe, you know?
I'm going to need a citation on that because
On
I saw the following tweet that the person is saying that what you're saying is false.
Sure, I mean, of course they denied it. I mean, they got like I'm not gonna share the DMs between the people. I mean, the girl wants to stay anonymous. I mean, the thing's been dealt with. Like the dude was creeping on a girl in my Discord. He was banned. That's as much as I cared to do about it. I fucking muted him on Twitter because I didn't care much for him. He was annoying. Like I don't think I need to prove that he was creeping on a girl, especially because the girl wants to keep her identity a secret because it's embarrassing for her.
Oh, I will never know, to be honest. But
I mean, yeah.
still,
I mean, I'm not saying that it's like you would have known or something. Like, I don't think you had any way to possibly know this. But like, these people are like pretty like these woke skulled people are really fucking stingy. Like my okay, what is your goal? No, no, no,
wolf
wait.
goats.
Yeah, yeah, woke skulls is a perfect word. It's perfect. It's woke. They don't really care about actual policy most of the time or real change. They just care about like language and whatnot. And sure, I understand language can have effects, but we're talking like real stingy shit here. And they scold you for it. They try to fucking shit on you just for the way you talk, even if what you're advocating for and the way you're using that language is overall positive. What is your goal? Wait, actually, really quick. What is your goal? Like, when do you are you a leftist?
Yes.
What is your goal with your advocation? What do you want to see? What change do you want to see in the world?
I want everyone united together under the Lord of Jesus
Wait, are
because I am a left wing Christian.
oh god. Okay, so don't please do I have to like falsify like the Christian God to do this?
Let's not get into detail about
Okay.
that
Okay, so
because I'm a left wing Christian, but
so
it seems
so
very irrelevant to me.
I mean, it's kind of relevant considering a lot of like the beliefs of Christianity. Sure, that you can have people who cherry pick these beliefs and whatnot, but generally the beliefs of Christianity have historically always coincided with that of the most bigoted, most oppressive actions towards these groups, right? Like, you can't deny that that's historically been the case, right?
Yeah, but with my with left wing Christianity, I genuinely believe that the words of Jesus can help unite the people.
Sure, I mean Jesus. If assuming like if you follow like the Bible, yeah, Jesus was a socialist. But I mean, like, here's the thing though: people who are likely to subscribe to Christianity are generally not going to be very willing to subscribe to leftism. They're going, because they generally believe things like gender is like biblical, is it's ethereal. Women are women, and it's as simple as that. If you're born with a vagina, you're a woman. That's it. You couldn't be a man. You can't be a woman if you have a dick. These are the things that like Christianity does seem to imply with a lot of like the creationist ideas and the whole God made man and woman, all that shit, you know?
Yeah, not me.
Okay, maybe you're kind of like unique in that sense, but that does seem to be the trend. I mean,
That's like a evangelical, somewhat like right wing Christian.
I mean, no, I would argue that like most Christians hold some pretty bigoted beliefs. It's not just evangelicals. It's pretty common.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm kind of
I
different.
mean, like as long as you don't hold any like terrible views, then I don't really care. So to me, can we agree that if you want everyone to be united, you think that the best way for the left to succeed as a political movement is for it to grow and to have a lot of people in it, right?
Yes,
Okay.
of course.
So the best way to so you would obviously agree this would follow that you want hold on, I picked up a bunch of shit I don't need. You want as many people to come into leftism and to be drawn to it, and you want to make leftism as appealing as possible to normies, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think the best way to do that is?
Well, we can basically try to we should use like memes and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
but mm,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, using memes being like. So would you agree that young people are probably the number one target we need to have, like getting into leftism?
of course,
Uh huh. And so, what would you say is the most appealing thing to young people?
I would say edgy humor would be the appealing type of humor.
Yeah, so that's basically what I try to go for. Now, obviously, I'm not going to start fucking using the N word all the time, which I've only ever used the N word once on stream, and it was quoting Soph, reading the chat logs that she had said about Muslims and wanting to kill them all, and that was in debate with Nazis to prove that yes, she's a Nazi. Look what she fucking said. But I'm not going to like start using the N word and shit to
How about
appeal to edgy.
ableist slur?
I mean, it depends on the context, but I generally don't think that um, most ableist, like, it depends. If it's towards somebody who's actually disabled, definitely not. But if it's like off cuff, like meant to be sort of an edgy joke, then it's probably not as big a deal. But it depends on the context, obviously. It's not as simple as like the word is always bad and that's just it. But like if somebody, hold on, use it against like an actual like disabled person, then that's when it's an issue, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that's my personal point. Also, it also depends on like on intent, right? Like so if I'm arguing with somebody on Twitter and they're actually disabled and I call them the R word, and it turns out they're actually disabled and I didn't know it, then like I'm obviously not doing that because they're disabled. I didn't know, but it's not a word that I use much anyway. I've used it before on stream and on Twitter, but it's not common. But like I said, the whole point of what I do is to use edgy humor, edgy mannerisms, just the same methods that reactionaries use to appeal to young people, with a reason, of course. I try to use that same method while also injecting fucking logic, because leftism, in order to
Of
bring people
course,
into
I
the fold.
do that too, but the problem would be when the edgy humor is not the problem. It's how your behavior is. Because when I see people using edgy humor behave like a 15-year-old, it feels very cringy. If you ask me.
I don't know. Most people seem to disagree. Most people seem to think that your video is kind of cringe.
Nah, fam, it's pretty dank, as I said before.
Okay. How old are you?
I'm actually 23.
Damn, boomer. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Like most people thought that it was kind of cringe. Like in online leftism, it seems like the woke scold left is sort of dying out, and the edgy leftist kind of area is taking over. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I love the fact that like on one hand we can say let's fucking eat the rich, behead these billionaires, while at the same time being like, ooh, trans rights. Like, I love that. I think that's what's so beautiful about this new wave of leftism. It's amazing.
Not really when you start saying racial and ableist and a bunch of other distasteful slurs.
Who's saying racial slurs? When have I said racial slurs?
No, not you. I'm just saying when
I don't
I'm
advocate
like
for the use of racial slurs. If someone's using the N-word to be funny, like, that's definitely not, like, something that I would agree with. Like I said, within reason, you know? I'm not just gonna start saying, yeah, you know, you can say the N-word to be funny on that's the way you can appeal to the gamer bros. Like, that's not what I'm advocating for. Fuck, how do I get table coral sample and gold? Shit, I don't know. Sorry, go on. What were you saying?
no, I didn't have anything to say.
Okay. I don't know. It was a pretty bad video. You strawmanned me a little bit in that video, and it just seems overall.
That around 207 mark, I
What's it?
believe, because someone had brought it up on my comment. So basically, what I was trying to point out is people who behaving like this toxic behavior thing on the left is generally very unappealing towards people who let me see, who don't find that very appealing.
Sure. I mean, people can find it unappealing, but I think at the end of the day, I mean, we're advocating for a lot of these groups' existence, you know, and we're doing it very successfully. Like, I don't think you realize maybe it's because a lot of the people that I find end up being like woke scoldy aren't content creators.
Wolf skulls.
Listen, I know the word is like it triggers you, but listen, just trust me here. A lot of them typically aren't content creators, but like trust me, I alone have received like God, hundreds of messages on Discord, hundreds of emails of people saying, before I watched your content, I was a chud. Your, like, edgy stuff brought me in, and now I'm not transphobic. I understand what, like, about how gender works. I'm full-on trans rights, non-binary rights, and everything. Like, I've literally gotten hundreds of, like, emails, hundreds of DMs on Discord from people saying that, my content, my edginess was able to appeal to them when they were chuds, and now they're full-on, like, militant leftists who are supporting of trans rights and would, like, knock the shit out of a Nazi if they had the opportunity. Like we're making actual change, like, significant change. So much so that the Nazis are afraid of us. Have you seen the Kiwi Farms threads? They're, like, scrambling to dox us and try to, like, plot to swat us and shit because they see us as such a threat. When they see you guys, I see their threads. When they see you guys saying this, they're like, haha, the left eats itself, LMAO, they can't even get along, this is fucking hilarious, and they sit there with their popcorn. But they see, like, me and Vosh as, like, the #1 threat. That's why they, like, focus on us so hard. I've seen their fucking, like, threads on Kiwi Farms and shit. I've seen it. Like, the Nazis are more afraid of us than they are of you guys, because, like, you guys prove their point. When they try to say, ha, look how moralizing... I mean, it's as much of a point as the Nazis can have. What the Nazis claim is that the left is extremely prude, and it's if you try to get involved with the left, they're going to make you change your language. They're going to try to make you change who you are, and they're super militant.
Not really.
I mean, it doesn't matter. That's what the Nazis say, and these fucking people believe what the Nazis say because these Nazis appeal to them with this edgy sense of humor, and they trust them. And so when you guys come along and you follow that stereotype that the reactionaries are using to indoctrinate these young people, it's doing a disservice to people like me and Vosh and other people who are in the, you know, quote, dirtbag left, when we're trying to destigmatize being a leftist and bring young people, like, make young people realize that leftism is cool. You do realize that, like, a significant amount of people believe with the Paul Joseph Watson video where he's like, conservatism is the new punk rock. You know that, right? Like, people actually believe that shit because they think the left is, like, the uncool, prude, moralizing, like, you know, hate mob now. Hello? You there? You alright? Hello? Hold on, let me check something. Oh, you muted yourself. Oh, I guess he muted himself. I don't know, like at the end of the day, I'm trying to advocate for the existence of these groups, and I think I'm doing it quite effectively. Nice. Ooh, I gotta heal soon. Yeah, what the fuck? What the fuck's happening?
Sorry, someone was coming inside.
Okay. What were you saying before?
No, I didn't have anything to say.
Okay. I mean, like, the problem that I see is that we have the same goals at the end of the day, but we have, like, big disagreements on our ways of reaching it, but my method of reaching it seems to be what's most effective right now. Like just statistically, and from what we've seen, like, there's this massive movement. Like, have you seen Faraday Speaks' video about his journey from the alt-right rabbit hole?
I saw it.
Yeah. But did you... Have, like, you watched it and you kind of...
Well, actually, well, I didn't really watch that much of the video.
I would suggest that you watch the entire thing all the way through, even if it is like a bit of a slog for you, because I mean, like, it was his first video, like, it's just him telling his story. And read the comments. I want you to listen to his story and read the comments. His video explains this better than just his story explains this better than I or Vosh can. This is working. What me and Vosh are doing, it's working well. Originally it was Destiny, but now he's a fucking I would yeah.
Yes,
we can agree on that.
Destiny.
Yeah, we can agree. We'll agree on that. But like, let's be honest here. No edgy teenager is going to be none of what you guys are doing is going to appeal to, like, edgy teenagers. Like, you know that, right?
But to be honest, I feel like what you're doing is it kind of doesn't make them. It makes them go over to the left, but I feel like that some of their behavior didn't disappear.
I mean, so you can bring somebody. So, for example, name some behavior that you think would be, like, concerning.
Like arguing in bad faith, saying these ableist and racial slur and other distasteful slur on Twitter and whatnot. I kind of feel like that they kind of went to the left, but well, actually having some form of self-reflection.
Sure. Okay, so your concern here seems to be that they're just as toxic as before, they're just as terrible as before, but now they're just on the left and they've brought the shit with them. Is that what you're concerned about? So
yes.
Here's the thing, and this is what we've seen happen, like, overwhelmingly. Like, I've yet to see a case where some leftist comes along and they're, like, still a racist and being, like, a piece of shit. So what usually happens is you bring somebody in, you attract them with the edginess, right? And generally Destiny, me, Vosh, like, our debates and our videos, and our streams, and the way that we're appealing to these people while we're giving actual facts. So we are attacking their ideas that enforce their racist or misogynistic or homophobic or ableist ideas while also appealing to them. So once they become lefties, once they're in our communities, they aren't chuds anymore. They aren't racist. They aren't sexist. They aren't any of these things anymore because they've heard the arguments. They've had their beliefs disproven. If they continue to go on and be racist and homophobic and all these things, then they're chuds and they get banned. Like, if someone comes in like, for example, Nazbols are a good example. Basically, Nazi commies. Like, that's what they are. Those, I don't count those as just being like Nazis who came over and became leftists, because they're not leftists. They're chuds, and they get treated as such in both me and Vosh's community.
To me, I feel like they still haven't changed.
I mean, I did.
I know
like, you realize I was like a full-on, like, alt-righter to start with, right? Like, I was fucking hard down the rabbit hole before I discovered Destiny. And now I'm, like, literally, like, punch Nazis in Minecraft, wink wink, nudge nudge, you know?
I haven't seen. I haven't seen stream.
You haven't? Do you watch my content?
Well, I did, and I used to until you started doing that whole uh epic crusade thing.
It wasn't much of an Epic Crusade. I like talked about woke scolds on stream a little bit. As a matter of fact, I'd already said I wasn't going to talk about woke scolds again until you made your video, because I mean it was a takedown video on me. So I was like, okay, fuck it, I'll cover it. But yeah, I mean like after your video, I don't really plan on covering any of these woke scolds again. I'd already said I didn't plan on doing it. The problem is it usually seems like they're the ones who engage. They generally start it. Like I'll just kind of be chilling on Twitter and like they just sort of comment on my shit and call me like a Nazi or call me any number of things. It's just not true, you know? Like, I'm pretty explicitly anti-Nazi. I think we can agree on that, right?
Ugh.
I mean, like, can we agree on that? Like, I'm pretty explicitly anti-Nazi.
Of course, but your behavior, on the other hand, Twitter, uh,
I mean, like being mean to people on Twitter isn't being reactionary or being like a Nazi. Like if somebody says something to me like so for example, my first interaction with like the woke scolds originally was I was on Twitter and someone added me and said, if you don't have your pronouns in your bio, then you're a fake leftist and you should delete your channel. Something like that. And I got into an argument with them.
no, actually, it said, if you're if you don't have pronoun in your bio, you should give up your Patreon money.
Okay, that's what it was. Yeah, I don't remember the exact
and
thing.
you started to argue in bad faith, and I feel like
I literally remember exactly what I said in response. I said, I don't have a Patreon, but bad take. That was what I said. And then this person responded to me immediately and said, Lamau, okay, stop being friends with Vosh, or something like that. Like, it was just really stupid and out of nowhere. And then they went on to, like... And then Cinny came in, like, Cinny, who's my best friend, who's non-binary and, like, a super cool person, came into the thread defending this woke scold and saying, like, yeah, maybe you should include your pronouns in your bio, but then, like, slipped up on something. And the woke scold turned against Cinny. Cinny, who had come into the thread to take the woke scold side against me. Then the woke scold turned on Cinny and started yelling at them, and Cinny's like, whoa, 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 I was on your side and all this, and started screaming at him, like, no, I see you follow him. You're not, like, what, like, it was insane. Like, these people are, like, super unreasonable. It's ridiculous. And they always end up starting it. Like, the only time that I've ever started it, and I'll tell you this, is whenever I, like, search my name on Twitter, because I want to see what people are talking about me, and they, like, subtweet me, so I don't, like, you know, just without the @ and they say some shit that's, like, blatantly lying, and I'll quote tweet it to clarify, hey, this isn't true, and this is extremely stupid.
I don't know what to say, but...
Like, you'll find I'm pretty consistent on all this. Like, my overall goal at the end of the day has been and will always be for the liberation of oppressed classes, ranging from, you know, trans people and, like, social minorities to the working class. That's how it's always been and how it will always will be, and I will do whatever it takes to achieve that goal. And the best way to do it at the moment seems to be using edgy humor, within reason, obviously, to appeal to a young demographic, which are the future, and which are what is needed to achieve a leftist society, potentially. I mean, like, these woke schooled people, they just fit the stereotype that the right-wingers always make about the left. It's kind of bad.
Always with the woke skulls. And that's the problem. You keep on saying these woke skulls. It feels very very bumming me out.
Just the word woke scold? You know, like, words and terms have been, like... So, for example, the term gender dysphoria... You know, gender dysphoria was discovered by, like, a literal, like the dude had fucking mutilated a kid and forced him to live as a woman. Like, you realize that we've found words and terms and things that are important from horrible methods and horrible people, right? So, like, if the word woke scold is a fitting word for a group and we can use it progressively on the left, it doesn't make it, like, bad. Like, virtue signaling, for example. What I find is a lot of conservatives end up virtue signaling, in that I'll make a point, for good examples what the Quartering did in my debate with him. I was like, hey, so black people and white people have it pretty fucking hard and have a very different experience in America. And he's like, what do you mean? I say, well, okay, let's say, for example, you have a black friend you're growing up with. And then he says, well, for starters, I wouldn't say I have a black friend. I would say my friend's name is Kyler. Just, like, interrupting me to say that. It's like, what the fuck? Just to, like, virtue signal, like, hey, you said black friends, and that's racist. The lefties are the true racists. Like, shit like that. Just, like, ridiculous. That's virtue signaling. But virtue signaling is a term popularized by reactionaries. So just because it's a word created or even popularized by them doesn't mean it can't be used effectively by the left. You seem to have this idea that anything touched by the right is immediately poisoned and irredeemably ruined.
No. Well, obviously no.
I mean, even at the end of your video, you said that the gamer bro chuds that we could potentially appeal to and bring over to the left.
Have you actually watched my end of the video, or?
I watched the whole thing on stream.
No, you didn't actually watch the entire thing.
Was there more?
Yeah, there was more.
Okay, maybe there was like 30 seconds left.
Actually, you only watched up to 7 minutes and 57 seconds.
Okay, your video was like 8 minutes and 30 seconds long, I think?
Yes.
Okay.
Because there was...
What did you finish it off with then?
I said that Big Puncher should take what I say into consideration before filleting me on this live stream, because assuming that you have a tendency to fillet people on your live stream thing.
Mm-hmm. When people talk shit about me, I'm generally going to respond in kind.
Yeah, so that's basically that's basically the rest of it. If I need to bring up the video.
I mean that's the thing though. I mean, I'm okay with constructive criticism. I think it's a very important thing. I think, in fact, I actually encourage my fans to criticize me constructively. But to begin with, like, your video is very inflammatory. Like, it clearly wasn't meant to be a constructive criticism. It was meant to be more of like a fucking, like, you call me a dipshit and stuff in the video, which doesn't bother me. I've got thick skin. But that's not how you talk about somebody when you're trying to constructively criticize them. Did you see my video on ContraPoints? If you've seen my video, I recommend, if you want to see like a really good constructive criticism of somebody who I generally think is a positive person, but I also think needs to be criticized constructively, you should probably look at that, because calling someone a dipshit in the first 10 seconds generally not going to be. That's when you start to set off alarm bells, and it's like, huh, this person probably doesn't have the best intentions in mind. Do you get what I'm, like, saying here? But how do you feel about non-binary people? I'm just curious. Like, are you like a true scum?
Ooh, what now?
Are you a true scum? Do you think that like do you think there's only two genders?
Hell no.
Okay, good. Just making sure. I've had a few people.
No, I actually looking at my video, and let you try to play it again.
Okay, good. So basically, something I've noticed.
I actually said that if Pig Puncher truly cares about authenticity, he would self-reflect and apologize for his behavior.
I mean,
that's what I said.
What behavior?
The behavior that you were doing on Twitter lately.
I mean, why would I apologize for that? Like, why would I apologize for that? I haven't done anything that's really harmful.
Yeah, your behavior is, you were acting like a chud on Twitter.
What do you mean by acting? What do you mean by, like, you keep saying arguing in bad faith? Can you give me an example of me arguing in bad faith, please?
Hang on. Like like telling my friend that they saying that they're a dishonest C word.
Yeah, I called them a dishonest cunt because they were being a dishonest cunt.
That's what the thing I'm.
Were they a woman?
No, non-binary.
Okay. Well, I mean, even if they were a woman, I wasn't using it in a misogynistic way. I was using it as an insult, just a basic borderline insult, just like people in many other places in the world do. I think if you know anything about me, you know I'm not a misogynist, so it shouldn't really. That's probably not an idea you would entertain. The idea that I'm actually a misogynist, like, it just seems kind of Well, I will say this: it seems kind of problematic when people try to get in between me and the audience that I am trying to reach in order to bring over to leftism. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's basically all I pretty much have to say. I feel like that people here on Twitter and yours is generally feel very unappealing when to people.
I don't know. I mean,
I get quite concerned.
I get what you're saying here. Like, so I've been consistent about this position for like the entire time I've been doing this. I think that there needs to be a balance, right? So I'm not going to like start advocate. I'm not going to do stuff that like actively harms any like marginalized group in order to appeal to like chuds. I'm not going to go that far. However, I will take precautions necessary as long as they don't cause any harm to marginalized people, in order to appeal to young gamer bro chuds and to bring them into leftism, at least to make it appealing to them. But I'm only obviously within reason though. Like I said, like 20 times. But no, I don't think I was arguing like a chud on Twitter, and people were shit talking me on Twitter, and so I shit talked them back. I mean, it's just kind of how it is. It's the internet, bro.
Eh. Oh well. Alright, that's all I gotta say, to be honest.
Alrighty, well, it's been a nice chat. Hopefully you reconsider the woke scoldy shit, because it's probably not very helpful to leftism. Maybe I definitely recommend you take a look at Faraday Speaks' video. I think his story speaks volumes to this whole situation. And, yeah, have a good day.
See ya.
These fucking people.